Hello.
Hold on, let's see if I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Good. Very good.
How are you?
I am fine. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yes, sir. You're welcome. Thank you for this opportunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another special edition of the My Show. Today, I have the pleasure of sitting down with a young boxer who is already making his name in the amateur boxing scene. Fighting out of Champions Corner in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, he currently holds an amateur record of 6-1, and his only one defeat came in the final of the World of Havoc Tournament, where he finished second in the Elite Male Novice division. He has been boxing for 3 years, started his journey in Norfolk, Virginia, and today we are going to learn more about the fighter behind that record. Aterius Swain! Aterius, welcome to the show.
Hey, everybody. How are you?
I am fine, I am very fine. My friend, when you look back at the person who first walked into the gym, how different are you now?
Oh, man, I am so different now. When I first walked into the gym, I actually went to a boxing gym because I experienced bullying growing up as a kid. So now that I have got older and I learned how to box and protect myself, it has gave me a sense of self-worth and confidence. So where I can, as you see, walk around with this big smile and be myself, knowing that what I do is who I am and how I conduct myself is who I am. And whoever feels differently about me doesn't really matter to me. And at one point of time, I used to care so much about what others thought. And boxing helped me get away from that.
Wow, why? What originally made you decide to start boxing? Not MMA, karate, jiu-jitsu, but boxing.
I think due to the fact of me being in Norfolk at the time, so I actually stayed in Virginia Beach, but I would travel to Norfolk to box. So around Norfolk, it's not a lot of other martial arts. It's mainly boxing, 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 boxing. As you see in the media, Norfolk has a star right now in Keyshawn Davis, and that area is getting a lot of light in the boxing scene. So I think me just being in that general location of Norfolk, Virginia, is what made me go down the route of boxing. But I want to say that I have a homeboy named Josiah Baker, one of my good friends. He he actually started boxing in Todd's Eastside Boxing Club. And he told me one day, like, man, you should really start boxing. And I took him up on the offer, and here we are today.
What did Norfolk teach you that you still carry with you today?
Oh man, mentality. Mentality. Norfolk has some of the what's the word? I feel like in order to survive in Norfolk, you have to fortify your mind. So Norfolk put me in a predicament of sink or swim. And to some people, that might not resonate with them. But to me, I love that sink or swim environment. It showed me that I can actually swim. And I think it's the mentality coming up in Norfolk. All the boxers, we're from Norfolk. We're better than everybody. We're from Norfolk. We can beat anybody. And it's that mentality that kind of stuck with me to this day that I carry throughout my boxing journey.
You have now moved your boxing career forward with Champions Corner in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. A new gym can bring new coaches, new
Yeah.
teammates, and a completely different environment. What has Champion's Corner brought out of you that you didn't know was there?
Okay, great. Champions Corner brought out the version of me that allowed me to express myself. So they supported my self expression. Champions Corner, before I came to Champions Corner, I had zero fights, no fights. Champions Corner, they gave me that boost, that confidence, that edge to jump in there and take off. I always believed in myself, yes, but I needed somebody to believe in me as well. And due to the fact that I left Norfolk and I left my coach, Champions Corner just fell into my lap. And ever since day one, they've always supported me, and it feels like family. And the people in there have helped me get the opportunities that I have today. Without them, I would have never had the opportunity to go to the World of Havoc tournament in Orlando. So I have nothing but thanks and gratitude for Champions Corner. They gave me that extra push.
Many boxers are not allowed to fight for years. You are only 3 years into boxing, but you already have 7 amateur fights. What do you think has been the biggest lesson boxing has taught you so far?
Hmm. The biggest lesson boxing has taught me so far, I think it is a multitude of things that rank highly, highly up there in terms of importance when it comes to boxing. The two biggest things I'll say relates back to the first topic earlier is that you can depend on yourself. For the longest time, I grew up in sort of a self isolated environment. So I didn't really have a lot of support early in my younger years. So boxing taught me that you can support on yourself. And I meant support yourself. I'm sorry. You can support yourself and push yourself out there and motivate yourself to achieve big goals. And also, it taught me that mind over matter. You know, to me, I don't look at boxing in a physical aspect. I think boxing is 90% mental, 10% physical. Boxing has really taught me that if you can see it, you can achieve it. You know, um, in my style, when it comes to my style in boxing, I have to what I have heard, a very appealing style, a fan favorite style, as some shall say. But I think it comes from me being able to imagine myself shooting for the stars. And even when I'm in the ring, and sometimes when I'm standing up and we're squared off, sometimes I'll envision myself doing something before I actually do it. And that's what gives me the confidence to do it. So, mind over matter. Mind is very important. If you can control up here, everything else will fall in place.
Brother, your amateur record currently stands at 6-1. Obviously, every boxer wants to protect that record and keep winning, but the number itself doesn't tell the entire story. What does 6-1 mean to you personally?
Oh, brother, 6'1", man. Honestly, brother, it should be 7-0. It should be 7-0, you know? But the 6 wins, they show me that I belong, you know? Like I said, I never really boxing is something I never seen myself doing. If you would have asked me 3 years ago if I would be a boxer, I would say definitely not, you know? But looking at it today, those 6 wins show me that I have the potential and have what it takes to keep going and reach that level because I had some rough fights on the come up, but I say not to toot my own horn, most of them were smooth sailing. And me being 6-1, that one loss I took, shout out to Jimmy Jones. I can't forget his name. He beat me, you know? Um, it taught me a lot. It taught me that most importantly, that sometimes you can lose and still win. Even though I lost that day in the World of Havoc tournament in the finals, I still feel like I won. The people I met, what I actually achieved. To be honest, I went into the tournament with 3 fights, you know, and everybody else had more fights than me and more experience. And to go so far as the finals was a win to me, you know? So even though I took that loss, I still feel 7-0, you know? And last but not least, I think it gives me that push to keep going. Um, with me being 6-1 at the moment, I want to keep putting my skills to the test and keep getting the fights rolling. So I look forward to being 10-1, 20-1, and so forth more.
Your record is very good. 6-1 better than 6-7.
Thank you. Thank you, brother.
You only lost come in the final of the World of Havoc Tournament. How
Yes,
did
sir.
you feel walking into that final? Tell me please about your road to the final.
Okay. My road to the finals. First, I fought a tough opponent who, my first fight, I fought a tough opponent who I believe had 9 fights at the time. I was only on my third fight. Um, I knew he was a pressure fighter and I knew he was very sharp. I would say he was the sharpest guy of them all. But I was told by my teammates that he doesn't like to go backwards, right? So I want to pause right there. I have to say it's very important. I am so thankful to Damon Nicholson, pro boxer Damon Nicholson. I met Damon Nicholson when at the World of Havoc tournament, my coach unfortunately was not able to show to the tournament, and I had no coach. So I ran into Damon Nicholson day 1, and he gave me some tips and some pointers, and he was also in my corner for that fight. So I have to give credit to Damon because Damon tapped into my mind. Um, he gave me the confidence that I needed to give me the boost to feel like I can win, you know? And I fought a tough fighter, and Damon gave me some encouraging words that stuck with me. He told me that I can do it and that I have the skills to go all the way. And hearing those words made me even more locked in to the tournament, you know? So the first win, it was smooth sailing. It was my best looking fight. I think I performed perfect that fight. My second fight, I fought a guy named Andy. He was a southpaw. I struggle with southpaws, but I gave him a pretty competitive. He gave me a pretty competitive fight, but ultimately, I think that was an easy fight as well because my style is to get you backing up. If I can get you backing up and applying the pressure, physical pressure and mental pressure, you're fighting into my game, right? So Andy, I got him mentally, what's the word I'm looking for? Frantic. He was mentally frantic. Um, he was all over the place, and I think due to his family being there, he had family there, he had teammates there, a lot more teammates than me. I think the moment got to him, but he's a great boxer. The third fight, I fought a guy named Chris. He was a very sharp guy, also a southpaw. I struggled with him. He would do sneaky things. He would grab me on the inside and grab my arms. He would try to smother me and stop my work. Ultimately, I felt like it was a close fight, but the judges' scorecard leaned my way for a unanimous decision, I believe, or it might have been split. I'm not too sure, but it was also a dominance performance. But when I got to the finals, the only issue I experienced was I spent the first 3 fights coming forward, right? Um, Jimmy was the first fighter to actually push me backwards. So I had got in the mindset of coming forward, coming forward, coming forward, that for the first time all tournament, I'm going backwards. And as we know, people who come forward usually don't like to go backwards. I think I know how to box going backwards. I think I did a fantastic job going backwards. The first round I won, it was a 3-2 round. Um Honestly, it should have been a 5-0 round. I don't think he did that was anything that would have won him the round in general, except apply pressure, because he wouldn't stop backing up. He just came forward and came forward, you know? And the second round, he caught me with a couple big shots. But I also think his work was very limited. He didn't have a lot of volume, but he was a very strong guy. Having Demond in my corner, Demond started telling me that I needed to draw the line in the sand and step forward and get in the pocket. And I tried. He was just too strong. So I kept going backwards and he won that round, 3-2 round. So it's tied, right? Um, Third round, my coach in the corner, Demond, says, I really need you to stop going backwards. I need you to come forward. So I end up trying my best, but honestly, brother, I ran out of gas. The tank was on E. But the only thing I could do was keep fighting. But ultimately, I think that he had the cleaner work and he had more energy at the end of the round. So he ultimately deserves the fight. Oh, man.
Your final. Tell me please about the final itself. Who
Right.
did you lose to? And do you want the rematch in the future?
I lost to a boxer named Jimmy Jones, fighting out of Georgia, I believe. Like I said, Jimmy's a strong guy, and Jimmy isn't a pushover because, to my knowledge, he does multiple martial arts. I believe jujitsu and something else, and boxing as well, I believe. So he's a very strong and formidable opponent, you know. But I would love for the rematch because Jimmy told me that he was sick, you know, and that maybe if he wasn't sick, he would have beat me in a more smoother fashion, as we shall say. But I feel like I had a lot of problems going on myself. After having 3 fights before Jimmy, my shoulder was giving me some issues. I was a little tight, my neck, everything was just wrong, but everything was right at the same time, you know? So I definitely want the rematch. In the rematch, I honestly think I could beat Jimmy today. If he was here with me today, I'd tell him we could run it today. Cause I know what I did wrong, and I studied that fight to a T. So if we were to fight today, I would definitely get the better of him. But there's nothing against Jimmy. He's a great fighter. He beat me for a reason. But I know what I did wrong, you know?
Do you want to say something to Jimmy Jones right now? Maybe you will call him for a match right now.
Jimmy Jones, I want to say you are a great fighter, brother. You are a fantastic man and a warrior. But in the rematch, you will not win. You might have won the first time. I think I won, you know? I want the rematch and I want it as soon as possible. I believe Jimmy will be going. I believe you'll be going to Nationals in December. And you will see me there, Jimmy, and I will win. Blessings, brother.
I'll have to do something. Jimmy Jones saw this interview.
If Jimmy saw this interview,
Yes, yes.
Jimmy, if you see this interview, brother, we need a fight again. I'll come to Georgia. You can come to Tennessee. I'll come to Georgia. I just want to fight you again. So if you see this interview, Jimmy, we follow each other on Instagram. The next card you're on, let me know. We can set something up and we can get this rematch.
Finishing second can be a strange feeling for a competitor. Strange feeling. Yeah, you are proud because you made into the final, But you are also disappointed because you were one step away from winning it all. What
Yes, sir.
did that loss do to you mentally?
Oh man, good question, brother. Mentally, I would say that, like we talked about earlier, I have put in a lot of work to fortify my mind. So the loss back in the day would have destroyed me. I'm a sore loser, believe it or not. I am a sore loser. I don't like to lose, but when I lose, I do know how to give credit where credit's due. It's all part of being a warrior, you know. So when it comes down to my mind, though, brother, I feel great about the loss because there's a lot of stuff that I could have did differently that would have won me the fight. Even leading up to the fight, the preparation before the fight. It's a lot of times in the gym where sitting down all alone when I'm like this, all I can think about is those days I was in the gym and I didn't go that extra rep. The days where I was supposed to go for a run and do my road work, but let's say I was supposed to run 3 miles. I only ran a mile and a half. So all of those days just kept playing back in my mind over and over and over again. And I think that me personally, brother, I would have rather wanted to lose in the first fight rather than the finals. Because if I would have lost in the first fight, the victory in the belt was so far away. It wasn't even in arm's reach. But to lose in the finals, especially in such a close fight, a 3-2 split, it seems like it was right there, brother, just right here. And I was reaching out and it was just a little too far, you know? So mentally that really it bothered me because like I said, there were places in my life where I could have did better and I would have won that fight. Even my diet. Sometimes I spent, and this is no excuse, I had to cut like 8 pounds that night for that fight because after winning, I had a 2 day break and we were on vacation and I was very undisciplined and I ate some food I shouldn't have been eating, you know? And before that fight, I tried to cut some weight in the sauna and I cut about 4 to 5 pounds and I couldn't cut anymore. I was I was on my last limb, you know? So I told myself I'm gonna wake up in the morning and I'm gonna cut this last 2 pounds. I had to be 154. I was 161. So 161.6, 7.6 pounds. And I woke up that morning at I believe 166.5. With an hour left to go, I had to cut 2.5 pounds. So I went over to the crunch and I jumped in the sauna and I'm just sweating. I'm sweating. I'm sweating. I'm in the sauna, shadow boxing, trying to get the sweat out. And I accidentally ended up cutting down to 152.8. But brother, I went in weighed in and I had about a couple hours to rehydrate. But I really felt drained. And that was the only fight of the tournament where I had to cut that much weight because of me being undisciplined. So like I said, I give Jimmy the credit, but a lot of the times my mentality is my opponent didn't beat me, I beat myself. So I feel like I beat myself that tournament.
You have said your only defeat come in that tournament final. That means every time you step into the ring, you know exactly what it feels like to lose.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes that memory can become fuel. Does that loss still motivate you today?
Yes, sir. Because that loss was was to somebody formidable, like I said earlier, you know. A lot of people, and no offense to losing, but a lot of people lose fights that they should have won because of maybe stuff going on outside of the boxing ring or your mental not being in line or maybe you just don't believe in yourself. That one loss, it motivates me because, like I told Jimmy face to face, I said, I beat you, Jimmy. And I really feel like I still won that fight. So to me, I might have lost, but it doesn't even feel like I lost yet, brother. It feels like I'm still undefeated and I'm still pushing towards new things. And I'm hoping right now, since I didn't win the ring, right? It motivated me to go after some trophies of my own. So I want to go forward and fight in a couple belt shows and have a little trophies, you know?
A lot of fighters say they hate losing more than they love winning, but there is a big difference between those two mindsets. One can create fear, while the other can create ambition. Ambition. Which one describes you better?
Um, Brother, I think it creates ambition to me, and I'll tell you why. Brother, I spent my whole life before boxing. I'm 21 years old. I started boxing at 17, turning 18-ish. Um, I spent my whole life scared. Scared of what other people thought of me, scared of what other people would do to me, scared of whether I could even believe in myself or trust myself. So to me, I'm used to losing, brother. So me losing is not the end of the world because I feel like I've been losing my whole life and just now I've just started winning. So to me, I'm on a winning streak because I told you I never even seen myself being a boxer. This is these last couple years, my character has took a complete 360 change. So, brother, it motivates me to go harder. And it doesn't make me scared. It just motivates me to get better because I know what I'm capable of. And I still haven't even showed it yet. What I see in the gym, what my teammates see me do, I would say could be considered unnatural sometimes, especially for somebody with my experience level. But I haven't found my exact style yet inside of the ring. And once I figure out who I am, brother, I don't think there'll be nobody that can beat me. Truthfully, that's just how I feel. So it motivates me to keep going harder.
My friend, when you have a rematch with Jimmy Jones, please record this fight and post it on YouTube. I
Yes,
will
sir.
put a like and write a comment about your victory in the rematch.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
The World of Havoc Tournament gave you the opportunity to test yourself against multiple opponents.
Right.
What did the tournament teach you about yourself as a boxer?
Oh, great. Great. Brother, the tournament taught me that pressure bursts pipes. If you can apply pressure, mental pressure and physical pressure to your opponent, whether that's coming forward, whether that's being a counterpuncher, whether that's being a pure boxer and you only jab, if you can apply some type of pressure to your opponent and beat them in the mind, you can beat them in the physical. Because Jimmy, I only lost. I was never scared. I was never nervous of Jimmy. But he beat me because he did the opposite of everybody else. Everybody else went backwards when I came forward. Jimmy met me and drove me back. So it taught me that pressure is everything because in the first round where I felt like I outboxed Jimmy completely. I felt like it was a masterclass first round performance, you know? And they still scored it 3-2 in my favor. But Jimmy didn't do anything but keep coming forward. So I learned that the judges and most people want to see people come forward. So if you can figure out how to come forward effectively, you can win. So the tournament, it didn't teach me, it taught me a lot about myself. But the most important thing it taught me, brother, is how to win because I lost. And now that I examined who won, I took my performance and his performance. I combined them together. And now I know how to win, you know? So now that the tournament taught me what the judges like to see, now I can go back to the lab and cater my style to fit that, you know? So the most important thing it taught me how to do, what to do was how to win.
What makes Jimmy Jones difficult as a boxer? Tell me please about this. Uh, what is the hardest thing for you to deal with during a fight?
Jimmy Jones, like I said earlier, he's very strong. Great physique. You could tell he trains, and I think due to the fact that he also participates in other martial arts like jujitsu, I think that helps a lot. It helps in the clinch. It helps it helps your mentality. You've been here before, not only on this level, as in boxing, you've been here in multiple different martial arts and you've competed at the level, at a what's the word I'm looking for? At a I don't want to say outstanding, but we'll just say outstanding level, Because Jimmy's pretty good. I think Jimmy has a great record himself. So I think his experience across different martial arts is what also gives him the edge against others because it's the mentality thing. He's been there, done it, and I think he has it in his Instagram bio. He's like 93-17 across all of his competitions. This is my first combat sport. This is my first sport in general, you know? So to me, you've been here. This is my first time. So that's where it's the experience. It's the experience.
Oh, brother, do you know this song? ABBA sings Jimmy, 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 a man after midnight.
I think so. I'm not sure. I think so. I would have to hear it. I would have to hear it.
Take me through the darkness to the break of the day.
I think so. I'm not sure. My mind is all over the place.
My friend, what is the first thing you thought about after the final bell?
I thought I did enough. I thought I did enough. Um, if you would have seen the fight, me and Jimmy had words after the fight. Um, not um, not violent words, not aggressive towards each other, just more competitive words. I felt like I won. Jimmy felt like he won. We both were two men feeling like we took home a W. So after the fight, I knew I did enough. And I went to my corner, and Coach Damon told me, he said, pick your head up, son. You're a champion today. And I really felt that way. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But the first thing I thought was that I won, brother. So that's why I tell you the loss doesn't even feel like a loss because from the beginning to the end, I always felt like I won the whole way through.
Many people immediately think of an unfair decision. Did you feel like you might have been robbed? Bad decision.
Um, let's be completely honest, brother. Um,
50-50.
I think that, yes, sir, 50-50. I believe that I was robbed due to the first round. I think that the way the judges scored the first round was a little suspicious to me. But I do believe that later in the fight, Jimmy was the fresher and sharper fighter. I know for a fact I outpointed Jimmy. For a fact, by the book, I outpointed Jimmy. But due to the fact that he was so fresh and he stayed sharp throughout the rounds and he maintained the steady pressure, I could see how you could also score the fight in his favor. I feel like close fights are always up for grabs. You know, it can either it's always gonna be, oh, I got robbed, I got robbed. Truthfully, brother, I'm not even gonna say I got robbed. I'm gonna say that he was the better man in that moment. And I just have to give it to him. Now, like I said, today, tomorrow, yesterday, I believe that I'll be the better man and I am the better man. But in that moment, he had the better game plan. And I salute it. I can't even take credit from him because as you can see, I haven't lost a lot, nor have I really came close to losing. So when somebody beats me, I can't I can't take your credit away because all my life, all I ever wanted was for people to give me my flowers. So if you beat me, I have no choice but to give you your flowers because that's what I would want. You know?
I have a feeling that you and I are warming up a rematch versus Jimmy Jones.
We are. I
Box,
want it.
boxing is amateur, and we warm it up like a pro. How strong is your mental game?
It's very strong, brother. I think I can't be beat mentally. That's what I work on and that's what I focus on. Mentality is everything to me because if you can't see whatever you can see, whatever you can achieve. In order to achieve something, I believe in manifestation. Some people call it prayer. It just depends on what you want to call it. But you have to pray, you have to believe in these things. If you can see it, if you pray for it, if you ask for it, if you believe it, it shall come to you. So I am big on fortify your mind. Know that you're the best. Even if you know you aren't the best, brother, you still have to look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that. Tell yourself that I can be better, but I am the best. And I will get better, but I am the best. Words of positive affirmation, brother, is what I follow by. It's always room to correct and improve, but a lot of the time we get so caught up in improving, we never give ourselves our flowers. And I had a problem with that myself. I would never give my own self my flowers. And I would expect everybody else to give me flowers, but I never even gave my own self flowers. It wasn't until I learned that in order to receive your flowers, you must first have to become a flower. You know, you attract what you are. So if I feel like I'm the best boxer, I'll attract that. I'll attract the opportunity to become that. But if I don't feel that way deep down inside, I'll never be that. You know?
It's just that everyone talks about the promotion of the fight only in the professional boxing. I believe that it's necessary to advertise fights and tournaments in amateurs. It's also necessary to advertise fights in amateurs. My friend, what do you think about trash talk in amateur boxing?
I think trash talk should be supported, brother. I think we need to push trash talk, push letting us fighters express ourselves, man. You know, we do this for free. We don't get paid for it. We get medals for it, but let us express ourselves. I feel like in a world where we're already constricted by society on a day-to-day basis, with some kids going to school, going to work, and or where you might stay and paying bills and all of these things that trap us in this bubble. Why does boxing have to trap us as well? I feel like it's a sport where we should be allowed to express ourselves. People express themselves in football, in basketball, in soccer, in tennis. Why is it that in a sport where we're actively fighting each other, we can't express our feelings? I feel like that is blasphemy, in my opinion. And I had an issue with that in my fight versus Andy because we were going at it and we were talking trash, and the ref he threatened to take a point, you know? But I don't understand why. I think that's healthy. Trash talk is healthy for the sport. It makes the sport entertaining, and a lot of us boxers have extremely great personalities that we never get to express because nobody ever asks us about it, you know? and we never get the chance to express who we really are because people only want to see us fight. They don't want to see the people who wear the gloves, you know? They only want to see the people who do the swinging, you know?
Perhaps if Floyd Mayweather had made a Bulgarian Serafim Todorov so angry at the Olympics, Floyd would have won. If
Right.
Floyd had turned on the mental game then, he would have mentally broken Todorov. We need to do trash talk at the Olympics.
Yes, we need it. We need to push for trash talks at the Olympics. It's healthy.
What do you believe is your biggest strength inside the ring? Maybe psychology, power, footwork, ring IQ. The biggest strengths.
I would say reaction time and ring IQ. I have fantastic reaction time, believe it or not. I think it comes from all the years of playing video games. Um, Call of Duty, it made me super reactive. Um, Reaction time and ring IQ. I have extreme ring IQ for my experience, believe it or not. I actually plan and set up a lot of my attacks. I actually I use feints. I actually think it through. Remember, I just told you that in order to achieve it, I have to see it. So a lot of the times I zone out in the ring, but I don't zone out of the fight. I zone out of my physical body and I just let my body do the work. I had a coach tell me one time that I'm my best when I turn my body off. I mean, turn my mind off and let my body react. So whenever I get in the state of not thinking, my body thinks for me. It's just honestly, brother, I feel like a natural talent. That's just how I feel. A lot of people ask me what I do and how I train, and I don't do anything special. A lot of this stuff just comes to me. I might try it in shadow boxing a couple times, and if I see it looking good in the ring, I'll try it. So reaction time and IQ.
You are now representing Champions Corner in Murfreesboro. What does Champions Corner mean to you personally?
Champions Corner means family. Family, 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 family. Support. Champions Corner has always been there for me. Ever since I ran into Champions Corner, they done nothing but support. And Champions Corner makes me feel like the man. Whenever I bring home the W or to bring home the loss, Coach never makes me feel less than. Coach does nothing but show his love and he goes above and beyond for all of his fighters. And to me, that's the representation of family. I have never had a bad moment in the gym. I've never seen us argue. I've never seen anybody at the gym argue. I've never seen anybody at the gym fight. I've never seen too many disagreements. Now, we all have our own personalities and express ourselves, but we don't disagree and clash heads. For the most part, we do things as a team. Camaraderie is what we believe in.
What do you think you need to change in your boxing style to beat Jimmy Jones in rematch? And in general, don't lose anymore. Try not to lose.
I need to get behind my jab more. My problem when the fight gets to going, I tend to become a hooker. I love to hook. That's my favorite thing to do. I love the body work. That's actually my nickname, the body snatcher. That's what coach names me. I need a jab more. If I jab, and set up the shots off of the jab, you know? My problem is I'll throw my combinations, but no jab. What I did with Jimmy, I didn't jab him. All I had to do was jab, reset, jab again, reset, combo, move, jab again, reset. All I had to do was jab, and I wouldn't throw the jab. Jab, jab, jab is the key. The jab will take you around the world.
Behind every fighter, there are usually people who sacrifice a lot. It's very serious. We don't play boxing. We can play football, basketball, tennis, but we don't play boxing.
Oh, sir.
Who has supported you the most throughout your boxing journey?
Hmm. I would say my brother. My brother, and he's not my blood brother, but I call him my brother. The one I mentioned earlier, Josiah Baker, who I started boxing with, I think he supported me the most. He understands boxing. He gives me that, it allows me a safe space to communicate with somebody who actually understands and who's actually been in the ring. I say my brother and my mother and my grandmother, my grandfather. Those have been the main supporters. But lately, I've been getting a lot more support lately. I guess I've been, after the tournament, I've been taking more risks and trying to put my name out there. So the most I would say is my brother. But to be honest, I haven't had a lot of support in this journey. And I feel like if I would have had a lot more support in this journey, I'd be a lot further than I am today. So mainly, brother, I had to support myself a lot. Because even the people who I said supported me, they support me, but they don't really understand what I do and what goes into what we do, you know? So they just support the idea. They don't support the actual work I put into it, you know?
Brother, Floyd Mayweather, pretty boy, lost 6 times in amateurs. It doesn't matter how many times you lost. It's important how many times you come back. And one day I will see you at the top. Tell me please about your biggest dream in boxing right now. Right now. Maybe Olympic gold or undisputed champion. Your biggest dream right now.
I have two dreams. Well, I have a dream and I have a goal. The goal is to become a national champion. As long as I can become a national champion, I would have achieved the highest of the highest to what I could ever see myself achieving. Now, I could see myself joining the Olympics and working my way up to being that top guy. But due to the fact that I started boxing so late, I do have plans on going pro, and I'll relate that to my dream in a second. But I have plans on going pro. So that's one of the biggest goals. If I can become a national champion after starting boxing at 18, it'll give me all the confidence I need to keep going. And if I can keep fighting in these tournaments and keep fighting the best of the best competition and win in these tournaments, even if I fall short, winning the national tournament is the my main goal. Now, when it comes to my dream, believe it or not, I don't have dreams of being a world champion. But I love the sport of boxing. I have dreams of being a boxing coach and coaching a world champion. I have dreams of building up fighters and being there for my fighters when they need me to be there the most. I feel like I don't have the discipline and the work ethic. I could instill that into myself, but it's very hard when you develop bad habits, when you develop traits that get in the way of your career. Um, I never seen myself being the next WBO holder, you know, the WBA. But I do see myself coaching national champs and being that coach to coach the top fighters and hopefully help the kids in need. I come from a lifestyle, a background to where I didn't have a lot of financial struggle in my life growing up. So I want to be there for the people who've had less than me in life. And I do this for the other people, not for me.
Coaches, boxers. They say that becoming a United States boxing champion, national champion, is harder than winning the Olympics because the United States has the greatest competition. Muhammad Ali barely won the Golden Gloves, barely, hard win. and and won the Olympics very easily.
Right. See? See? It's hard to win. So if I can win, that means everything, you know?
3 years sounds like a short time, but boxing can change someone very quickly. One hard punch, im- important everything. You learn discipline, patience, responsibility, and how to deal with pressure. How has boxing changed you as a person?
Okay. Boxing for me, boxing, it also developed my body. Outside of my mind, it didn't, okay, bingo. This is what boxing has done for me. When it comes down to boxing, it gave me experiences that I would have never experienced without boxing. I have met some amazing people. For me, it's all about the experiences in life and meeting new people because I think it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. Boxing is one of those things that I just love how everybody in the community is, how supportive the community is, how, and believe it or not, I love how small the community is. It seems like a big niche, but it's a very small niche. And boxing for me has also developed my body. I spent a lot of my life as a kid, a chunky boy. Before I started boxing, I was 250 pounds, a pre-diabetic. Um, After I started boxing, I actually started boxing too at 200 pounds. I started boxing as a heavyweight. I used to spar heavyweights coming up early in my career. Um, it got me in shape. It got me in shape. And that's one of the biggest reasons I do it to this day. It gets you in shape. So outside of getting my mind together, the camaraderie that comes with it, the brotherhood, being in shape, and also just the self-confidence of knowing that I can protect myself. I feel like boxing is one of those things that a lot of people don't look at it like so, but it is very much a skill. It's a trade in a sense because it takes time. It's levels. With 3 years, I shortly came to the realization that I know nothing and that there's so much to learn, you know? So boxing has taught me to just keep striving for stuff too, man. Just keep striving for greater. Don't ever stop. When you stop and become stagnant, everything else becomes stagnant. When you keep moving, the world around you has no choice but to keep moving with you.
You know, brother, boxers are also living people who have emotions. Each of us has hard days, difficult days, dark times. There are many examples. Because of the death of loved ones, lack of money, painful defeats, doping, disqualification, a girl cheated on with her best friend, and so on. Tell me please about your difficult days. What keeps you coming back to the gym on the dark times?
Okay. During some of my most difficult days, believe it or not, right before this tournament, I was in a 3 to 4 month layoff. I had lost my job. I lost my car. Um, I had financial issues. And also, I had some issues with a case of identity theft between me. Somebody was tampering with my information. So I had a lot going on. And also at the time, all of this happened back to back, just like 6 months ago. I lost my girlfriend of 5 years right after all of that happened. So to be honest, brother, I was in a spiral downhill, you know. I thought about quitting boxing. and my financial issues with me having no job and no car and everything going wrong at one time, I didn't know whether or not boxing was going to be something I continued to do. And me personally, I still am going through my financial struggles, but it's getting better and better. And at one point in time, my mental was so low, I stopped training, man. I went up to 185 pounds again. And I walk around at 160, 165. I went up to 185 pounds from just depression, and I got myself out of it. But all of this happened right before the tournament. So believe it or not, I was on a layoff. So I've only been active for about the last 3, 4 months right before.
You are very good that you didn't break. This means that you are mentally strong. Mentality. No one will break you because you are psychology. You are psychology. You are the king of mental games.
Thank you.
What is something people don't understand about the life of a boxer?
Ooh, the life of a boxer, people understand, but they really don't understand how lonely it is. You know, in football, you can blame your teammates. You can blame your teammates. You can blame your coaches. When you lose, it's a team effort. When you train, it's a team effort. When you guys go over plays together, you guys watch film together, you guys might do group trainings together, group meeting, group fundraisers. Most sports is group, 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 group. Boxing is alone, 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 alone. When you train, you might train in the gym with your team, but most training comes outside of the gym. The extras that you put in. When you run those miles, there's nobody there telling you to go the extra mile. You have to tell yourself that. When you lose in the ring on fight night, nobody in there lost. I had I like to we can call him an uncle. I had an uncle coming up and he told me, and it sounds very cliche and simple. He said, whatever happens to you in the boxing ring, you let happen to you. And it always stuck with me. If I had a bad day in sparring, I let it happen. If I go in there and I win, I let that happen. If I go in there and I get beat up on a fight day, I let it happen. If you throw a 1-2 at me and you hit me, I let it happen. I could have moved my head out the way, right? So I just learned that it's all it's all just it's such a lonely sport. When you lose, the only one who cries at night is you. I mean, your coach might feel bad, but your coach not gonna cry because he didn't get beat up. you know, when you lose, it's all on you. So boxing is so lonely because there's nobody who can save you. When the bell goes off, ding ding ding, you have no choice but to survive. And if you don't, you either get beat up here or you quit and you beat yourself up later. So either you win, you get beat up, or you get beat up. you know? So boxing is one of those lonely sports, man, where you can't blame anybody but yourself. It's so lonely.
No boxing, no life. Boxing is like a drug. You don't want to rest from boxing. You think about boxing all day.
All day. All day.
Do you and Jimmy Jones have an unfinished business?
Yes, we do. Well, Jimmy might think it's finished. Jimmy would say business is finished because he won. So business is finished to Jimmy, and to me, it's unfinished.
And my last question. Who is your favorite boxer of all time?
Okay, this might sound crazy, but I don't have a favorite boxer. Can I tell you some of my favorite Well, My favorite boxer of all time, if I had to choose one, would be James Toney. James Toney. But I say I don't have a favorite boxer, so I'll list you a few. Some of my favorite boxers: Miguel Cotto, one of my favorite boxers. Jermall Charlo. I also like Danny Jacobs, Canelo, Boots, and Virgil Ortiz Jr. And also, I have to go old school. I have to go Roberto Duran. I have to go let's see. Let's see. Trying to think. I like Winky Wright. Um it's one more I'm missing. It's one more on the tip of my tongue that I just can't remember right now. And we'll go Zab Judah.
I thought you would say that you are your favorite boxer. You are your favorite boxer.
That's a great answer. I'll take that one. I am my favorite boxer first. Yes, you are right, brother.
Your favorite boxer of all time is you.
Yes.
Aterius Swain.
Yes.
Aterius Swain, your favorite boxer.
Yes, sir.
Aterius, thank you for taking the time to sit down with me and share your story. I really appreciate you. And Aterius, Aterius Swain, ladies and gentlemen, remember the name because this journey is only getting started. And in the final of our interview, I wish you to arrange a trilogy with Jimmy Jones and beat him to one.
Will do. Will do, brother.
Not dilogy, not 1-1. Trilogy, 2-1. You will win.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Goodbye, brother. Good luck.
Goodbye, brother. Thank you so much. It's been a great talking to you.
Have a nice day.
You too, brother.